everyone! Welcome to Chapter 88. My name is Patrick, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a little game that I like to play called Magic the Gathering. So, what is Magic the Gathering? Magic the Gathering is a card collectible game that started off around the mid-1990s by Wizards of the Coast. At the time, I remember as a kid, I was around high school, and I saw all these other kids playing Magic the Gathering. At that time, I had no idea what it was about, but the reason why I was so drawn in was because it was so different for the time. Usually when it comes to card games, all you probably know is playing a game of solitaire, go fish, or even poker, or any of those kinds of card games. And when I first saw Magic the Gathering, I say, oh wow, that's so different. And when I looked at these cards, well, I was really amazed because they had all these different kinds of artwork and it looks so awesome. And when you look at these artworks, you kind of get the feel that each of these cards kind of represent a story that's happening in the world of Magic. So at the time when a lot of these kids were playing the game, I also wanted to get into it. But as a student, I had actually very little pocket money in order for me to start playing. And also, during that time when Magic the Gathering was, still picking up with its audience, it actually kind of had a couple of issues with a lot of people because a lot of people believe that Magic the Gathering was somewhat enticed with actual black magic or even devil worship. Much like how Dungeons and Dragons was when it first came out. Magic had a lot of struggle when it started. But, fast forward to maybe today, from mid-1990s all the way to these recent years, Magic the Gathering has already garnered over 20 million players around the globe. So yeah, that says a lot of how successful Magic the Gathering has become over the years. So I'm not gonna cover the basic, step by step of how to play it, but I am going to explain it in a way that at least you'll get the gist of what Magic the Gathering is all about and why there are also a lot of players enjoying this game. So in Magic the Gathering, you and your opponent start with 20 life, and each of you will have your own deck which you are going to build, and with that deck you are going to try to bring your opponent's health points down to 0. So in order for you to do that, you're gonna cast many different kinds of cards. So these cards all have their different effects, and they also have different types of cards. So if you look here, you have the 5 different colors of cards. So black, white, green, red, and blue. These cards represent the kind of element that exists in the world of Magic. So if you take a look at the swamp card, the black card, represented by a black skull, this represents the dark magic that exists in Magic the Gathering. So you have creatures there like vampires, even demons, and you have spells there that can curse or even destroy and all that. Everything, when you look at fantasy genres, all the dark elements there, that's what black represents. And if we move on to the white, which is represented by flames, you can see that, you know, it's brighter colored, it's a bright field, blue skies and all. And white kind of represents the good in the world of Magic the Gathering. So you have here, like for example, the creature showing here, it's a protector, and he is a human wizard. So you get kind of creatures like human wizards, or even different races. Like there are these even different races. Like there are these lion-looking creatures with the body of humans, and they are all in armor, and they look like something out of Narnia. So it's kind of awesome to think that maybe in the white is where you have your heroes of the story. And also, when it comes to the kinds of spells you cast, white represents more of protection or healing. So that's where white magic actually excels. And now, if we move on to the green card, which is represented by forest, you can imagine why it's represented by a forest is because, well, in the forest, you know, there are a lot of different kinds of creatures and all that. So the green cards excel more on nature-driven themes. You know, you have creatures like wolves, or even giants, or even if you know, in Lord of the Rings you have the Treants. You're gonna see a lot of those kinds of creatures also there, and you're also going to see a lot of magic that are more nature-based. There's a wall of vines to protect you and all that, and so, you know, there are a lot of nature-inspired themes when it comes to the green element in Magic the Gathering. And when you look at the red one, represented by a mountain, and it's represented by flames, you know, flames is something very, very powerful that could either give life or even destroy life. So the red element is more concentrated on the fire element of power. You know, you can also have creatures like a phoenix, or even fire-breathing dragons, and you can have some of those sorceries, or what you call instants, that are related to fire, like, you know, fireballs and all that. So yeah, that's the fire element of Magic the Gathering. And now we go to islands, which is the blue water. So this one represents the blue element when it comes to Magic the Gathering. And basically here, like water, you know, magic flows through everything in the world of Magic the Gathering. So the blue element specializes more on how magic works in nature of Magic the Gathering. So this is more magic based than creature based, and you know, there are a lot of magic spells here that could affect the playing field and how it would influence the outcome of your game with your opponent. So those are the different kinds of elements, and when you look at the cards, there are also different kinds of cards. So there's these are enchantments, which could affect the playing field for a prolonged amount of time. You have your creatures, which actually kind of represent the army you have that is under your control. So these are the ones responsible for attacking for you, or even defending you against an attack. And you have your sorceries and your instants, which are kind of similar, but there are certain rules of when you can cast a sorcery and when you can cast an instant. So they represent the kind of magic power that you have, that you can use against your opponent and their creatures in the field. So yeah, so basically getting the gist of it, you know, fighting against your opponent, bringing that opponent's HP to 0, utilizing all the cards you have. That's basically what Magic the Gathering is all about. When you first try to learn it, you might get a bit, you know, it might be a bit of a learning curve for you to learn the when to take a turn and all that. But you know, once you get used to it, it's going to be really easy for you. That it's all about building up your set of cards on the playing field and just basically following the instructions that are already written on the card. You know, just understanding those terminologies and you're all set for a very, very good game of Magic the Gathering. You are going to be spending a bit if you want to get into Magic the Gathering. So I think, you know, to me, that might be a bit of a downside if, you know, people are on a budget. However, there is also a alternative to this. Wizards of the Coast did release a computer game version of Magic the Gathering that's available for PC. It's called Magic the Gathering Arena. So it's the digital version of Magic the Gathering. All the cards that they have in the digital version are also the ones available in the print version. And you know, you could play a full game of Magic the Gathering there, and you don't actually have to spend, you know, a single amount of your money. You know, you could be building up your decks for free. If you play enough, you can collect enough in-game coins for free, and you could spend those in-game coins to build up your decks. So, you know, that's a good alternative, especially now when, you know, people are practicing social distancing. So at least, you know, you can still play a game of Magic the Gathering and still practice that social distance because you are at the comfort of your own home. What's also nice about these kinds of games, the tabletop games, you know, even tabletops like D&D, what makes these games actually successful is the community that's built around it and all these great people that are involved in keeping the games alive. So yeah, I think that's it for me for Magic the Gathering. You know, I hope that I was able to at least give you a few info that could possibly, you know, push you in a direction if you want to play Magic the Gathering. And I hope you did also learn a few things that, you know, you might be asking, what is Magic the Gathering actually all about? And yeah, that's it for me, guys. And I'll see you on the next episode for Chapter 88. Thanks, and see you soon.